Hello everyone, it's Jasmine and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I haven't done a monthly reading wrap-up in a while, so I wanted to talk about all the books that I read in February. The first book I read was Timid by Devney Perry. Here I have the special edition cover. This is the second book in the Lark Cove series, and this is the special edition cover, so I plan on coloring these soon, and I'm so excited. In Timid, we follow Willa and Jackson. This is a small town age gap romance. Willa has pretty much lived in this town her whole life, and growing up, she's always had the biggest crush on Jackson, but he's never noticed her. Jackson is the small town's local bartender. We meet him in the first book in this series. I think they had such a sweet romance. So Willa is this super shy, quiet girl, and Jackson is a player. He doesn't do relationships and he hooks up with a lot of tourists. Willa is ready to give up on her crush, but he notices her one night and it makes her so happy, but then she realizes he forgets. That definitely makes a girl feel not so special, and so there's a lot of bumps along the road, but they eventually both go through a path of healing. I really enjoyed the romance aspect, and I love Willa as a character. I think she's really sweet, and I really did like Jackson's growth throughout the book. There are a lot of twists and turns throughout the book that I was not expecting, but I did enjoy it. It still has a little bit of that like romantic suspense that I feel like a lot of Devney Perry's small town romance books have. There's just a lot of things that happen that made my brain go and I had to keep reading and reading and reading to find out what happens next. I don't want to say too much, but overall I really enjoyed this one. I liked the growth of both characters. Willa going from being super shy, and she's a hopeless romantic, and I think sometimes people make fun of her for that, but she's just authentically herself. I love the confidence that she gains throughout the book. And then same thing with Jackson. I really enjoyed just his story of healing and learning to love someone the way that he should, and then allowing someone to love him the way that he should be loved. I gave Timid a 4 out of 5 stars. I'm very excited to continue the rest of the series. The next book I read was Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy. I did a reading vlog on this if you wanted to watch my reactions while reading this. Abby decides she wants to study abroad in London. She has a really overprotective dad, so she's trying to plan everything accordingly and make sure that she's safe, just so that she can reassure her dad. And you know, she found a place to live, has been communicating with her flatmate, goes to London to her new place, and she realizes that all of her roommates are guys. So this is like a little bit of a new girl Xoxo kitty kind of situation. She moves in with them. They vibe really well and things are going great, but they decide to make a rule that there should be no fraternizing with flatmates. So she can't have any romantic connection to any of them. That should be easy, right? Wrong. She is immediately attracted to Jack, who is this Australian rugby player. I think he is so cute. I loved him throughout the book. While she has this attraction to him, she meets new friends in London, and they go out and she meets Nate, who is this bass player, and she's kind of torn between the two. While she's juggling two boys, she's also trying to stay on top of school, and one of her projects for school was she had to do some research, and what she decided to do research on was this painting she found. And in this painting, it was a girl, but she had no idea who she was, but she is somehow connected to the Tully family, who is this really high society, high profile type of family. This kind of gave me a mix of like what I've said previously, so new girl Xoxo kitty, but also kind of like The Longest Ride with like the painting aspect and the history of the paintings behind it. So I just thought this book was so much fun. I really enjoyed reading it. I for one love love triangles. Like, I just think they're so much fun to be rooting for a certain team, and yeah, I think it sucks if the guy that you like is not endgame, but I genuinely liked the friend group and just kind of them going out in London and Abby kind of getting out of her shell and exploring and trying new experiences and doing new things, and I just thought it was a lot of fun. All I have to say is I am Team Jack. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. Then the next book I read a manga, Lovey-Dovey Engagement. My fiance is 10 years older. I read this on Manga Plaza. I actually really enjoyed this. So I read what was available at the time. I believe it was 10 chapters. What happens is our female main character, her grandpa's in the hospital, and he basically uncovers a secret that she has a fiance. And what had happened is her grandpa and his best friend, they both made a pact that like their kids would get married so that way they could become family. They both ended up having boys, so then their grandkids are betrothed to each other. Her fiance ends up coming to the hospital and she ends up having to move in with him. He is this really attractive older guy. He's a CEO of a company, so he's very rich. She is just completely out of her element because she's very shy and very reserved. She's never really had like a real relationship before, so she went from, you know, not having any boyfriend to all of a sudden she's living with her fiance who she's never met before. While reading this, I thought it was so much fun because you got glimpses of her point of view and her inner monologue of what she thinks of the whole situation, but you also got his inner monologue of what he thinks of the situation. And it's like they're both attracted to each other, they both like each other, but they think that the other person doesn't like them. So you're reading and you're constantly like, oh my gosh, they like you, like can you just stop being so weird and just be together? So I thought that aspect was really fun. I love the female main character, and I think the male main character, I think what's really interesting about him is he's not necessarily like her to where she's quiet and reserved and shy. I think it's more so like he's trying to be respectful of her. So this is very good. I enjoyed it. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. It was a fun read, and I don't think it's completed yet. I'm very excited to read the rest of the chapters once they come out. And then the last book I read this month was Playing Hard to Get by Monica Murphy. So this is the first book in a series. Honestly, I started this like months and months and months ago, and then I never finished it. I think I got to like 50%. So then I finally finished the last 50% this month. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. I don't know if it's because I had paused it and then picked it back up after so long, or I just didn't connect to the characters, or I didn't develop that attachment to them. I'm not sure. But here we follow the female main character, and she works at the student store. She's super smart, and she just got out of a really lousy relationship with a lousy boyfriend. And then we have Knox, who is the star of the football team at their university. He needs a tutor. She becomes his tutor, and you can kind of see where that goes. Kind of like Naley from One Tree Hill, where he falls for the tutor. He decides to make a bet with his teammates that he can be celibate. He wants to focus on school and focus on football. Typical cliche, shy girl tutors the popular star athlete, and they start to fall for each other. It was just okay. Like, I think the setting is fun, and I think the premise is fun. I think for me, I just wasn't personally attached to the two characters, so I didn't really care for their relationship at all. However, I did like it when they would go out on group settings and just be around with, you know, Knox's teammates or Joanna's friends. I thought that was a lot of fun. I think I'm really going to like the second book in the series because I think it's with characters that I care a little bit more about. The Knox and Joanna, it's not like I didn't like them. I just didn't really care for them or grow an attachment to them. So overall, this book was okay. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. Okay, so those are the books that I read in February, and here is kind of like my March TBR. This is not set in stone because I am a huge mood reader, but I'm currently reading I'll Always Be With You by Monica Murphy, and that is book 4 in the Lancaster series, and I'm loving it. It's so good. I'm like 50% in. I'm hoping to finish it very soon because I love West and Carolina. I also am in the middle of reading Tragic, which is book 3 in the Lark Cove series. This one's pretty good too. I've been listening to it on Audible, and then I plan on listening to the rest of the Lark Cove series on Audible too this month. And then I also want to read some more manga this month, so I really want to start Sakura Saku by Iosaki Saka. I just bought this, and then I also want to start reading Neighborhood Story by Ayazawa. I got the special edition from Kinokuniya, and I think she's gorgeous. I also really want to read Night Shift by Annie Crown. My friend Mia has said some really great things about this book, and I really want to read it. It looks like the typical cliche book girl and star athlete, so I feel like I'm gonna end up really loving this. And then I also want to read Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I heard this is Rivals to Lovers, and I'm a sucker for Rivals to Lovers, so I hope I'm able to read this in March. That is it for today's YouTube video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed listening to me talk about all the books that I read in February and some of the books I want to read in March. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for any more bookish content. I will see you guys in my next video.